A temporary victory for East Hill residents looking to preserve a historic home.
I walk past it at least 2 times a day. It is gorgeous.
The new possibilities for the property moving forward. A group in New York is suing Okaloosa County to stop the sinking of the SS United States. They're also asking President Trump to step in. A shortage of law enforcement impacting major American cities that need them the most.
We're looking for people with good hearts.
What's behind the decline?
WEAR News at 10 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. A piece of Pensacola's history is being preserved, for now at least. Today, the Architectural Review Board denied a demolition permit for a 133-year-old property in East Hill. Developers say they purchased the property with plans to renovate the home and build a second structure on the property. Developers say contractors declared the structure of the home beyond repair, making demolition the next best option. And one board member says the Land Development Code discourages the demolition of historic structures. Board members also noted they were missing an engineering report that blocked the approval.
Sitting at the corner of North 6th Avenue and Jackson Street is this 133-year-old home. Residents say it's a staple for Pensacola's historic district.
I walk past it at least 2 times a day. It is gorgeous.
And nearby resident Seth will continue to get a good look at the home, at least for now. The historic structure was on a path towards demolition. President of the Old East Hill Neighborhood Association says that was a concern.
There was a gentleman on the property taking shutters and doors and things like that. So that kind of alerted us to the fact that, oh, something's going on here.
The home is owned by real estate investment company Ador Properties. Developers submitted a request to demolish the structure and build 2 new homes. At Thursday's Architectural Review Board meeting, members voted to deny the request. One board member says the Land Development Code discourages the demolition of historic structures. They also noted they were missing an engineering report. Without it, they say they could not approve the demolition. Off camera, a developer at the meeting told me he didn't know that was needed for approval.
Oh, we're happy they denied it because the home is very special. It's one of the few Second Empire styles. As one of the ARB board members described, it's almost like a southern farmhouse with a mansard roof, so it's very unique. It doesn't look like any other home in the area.
While residents are happy to see the home stay for now, developers are strategizing a new plan for the property. One of the developers says the home built in 1892 is now deteriorating. He says it's, quote, too physically and financially demanding to renovate. Residents agree the home needs repairs, but nothing worth getting rid of the house completely.
It is not past being saved. I've seen firsthand what can be done to structures, and this house isn't there. Had I known that this was a possibility, I would have looked into taking a project myself if it was feasible.
Now that could be a possibility. The board discussed a compromise with the developer to split the lot and build a second property on the land while maintaining the original home. The developer tells me this would allow them to sell the home at a lower cost while also building a new home next door.
I think that that's fair to both the neighborhood itself and Ador, because they do have a right to, take care of their bottom line as well. We're looking forward to welcoming whatever they bring in, and hopefully we'll all be sitting on the porch together and making new friends.
The developer tells me now the focus is to secure the engineering report and sell the property within the next month. He says the company still intends to build a new structure on the empty land. A group in New York is advocating and taking legal action to stop Okaloosa County from sinking the SS United States in the Gulf. The New York Coalition to Save the SS United States hosted an online forum tonight. The group says they don't want a part of American history sunk in the Gulf, so they filed a lawsuit against the county in federal court in hopes of postponing the project. They also reached out to President Donald Trump asking for government intervention.
The coalition wrote to the president asking the president to take the ship for public use. Private property can be taken for public use under the Constitution by paying the owners just compensation. Okaloosa County has paid $1 million for the ship, paid some money to keep it at the yard for a while, not the yard, the Philadelphia pier. They also paid to have it towed down there. So maybe they get $2, $3, $4 million, whatever, from Uncle Sam.
Okaloosa County bought the historic ocean liner last year. It's currently being stripped of hazardous materials at the Port of Mobile. And once that's done, the SS United States will be sunk in the Gulf, creating the world's largest artificial reef. And crews are still working on that 160-acre brush fire in Santa Rosa County. The Florida Forest Service says the Willow Point Lane fire is now 85% contained. The fire started yesterday around 5:30 p.m. near Jay and Chumuckla. No one was hurt, and the Florida Forest Service says they're still cleaning up hot spots and will continue to monitor the fire for several days. And joining me now is meteorologist Marion Caldwell. And Marion, it's pretty windy today.
Yeah, Haley, it was quite windy, and it was a little bit cooler than we've, gotten used to here over the last couple of days, and we're really seeing those temperatures drop outside right now. We're looking at lower 40s to lower 50s, just kind of depending on where you are, and that is all thanks to this cold front that kind of snuck by us overnight last night, brought a few showers, but was in and out pretty quickly for the most part. And again, it was quite breezy today, but those winds since then have subsided. We're looking at calm conditions out there right now, and that's what we can expect as we go into the day tomorrow. Going into the rest of the night, temperatures will continue to drop. We're looking at lower 40s and even some 30s in some spots. Although skies will stay nice and clear all the way into tomorrow morning, but that cooler weather does put us in a frost advisory that will go into effect at 3 a.m. and expire at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then into the afternoon tomorrow, still a little bit cooler. Lower 60s is just about where we'll top out for highs, but not quite as breezy, so it will be a little bit more pleasant to be outside. The good news is that a warm-up's in store for the weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about it coming up in your full forecast.
Download the WEAR First Warning Weather app now. Sponsored by Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram.
The University of West Florida's Board of Trustees met on campus today for the first time since the governor's controversial appointments. Many are talking about the appointment of Dr. Scott Yenor and his previous comments about women. We reported Tuesday that hundreds of UWF supporters protested in opposition to Yenor's appointment. One resident took her concerns to the board during today's meeting.
And I'm asking for you to be accountable to me as a parent, be accountable to the women at this university, and be accountable to this community. Is my daughter welcome here at this university? Is my daughter allowed to come to this university since she's female?
UWF President Dr. Saunders did not address any issues specific to Yenor or any other board members. Yenor was in attendance at the meeting via Zoom, along with at least one other board member. An immigration town hall was held at the New College of Florida in Sarasota today. Governor Ron DeSantis, President Donald Trump's border czar Tom Homan, and former acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf were all in attendance. The event gave the community a chance to ask questions about the United States' immigration policy and the recent efforts to crack down on illegal immigration. One concern the speakers brought up surrounds Trump's executive orders and how they could be reversed in the future.
Executive authority is great because you can do it quickly, you can do it fast. I'm just worried in 4 years when President Trump leaves office and it's not a Republican and a conservative that has an enforcement mindset, what is that border going to look like? And so that's where I would push the Republican Congress to do, obviously we can get a lot of infrastructure. I know we're building wall. There's a maritime buoy going in South Texas. There's a lot of stuff that President Trump's doing today. But you got to get it codified into law.
What will happen is you will absolutely see all that go up in smoke if a new president comes in 29 that doesn't agree with these policies. It'll happen like that. So, you got to start to think strategically. You got to start to think more long term.
To watch the full town hall, head to WEARTV.com. We have the link for you to watch it there. And tonight, there's an escalating legal battle over the Trump administration's deportation flights. A federal judge lashing out at the Justice Department, accusing it of evading his order to provide information on deportation flights to an El Salvador prison housing gang members. An attorney says among those deported, a professional soccer player with a tattoo mistaken for a gang symbol. ABC's Melissa Aiden has the details.
A legal showdown underway involving deportation flights, President Trump evoking an 18th century wartime act to deport hundreds of migrants, most of them Venezuelans, to a notorious prison in El Salvador, known for housing gang members. Judge James Boasberg calling on the Trump administration to provide specifics about the deportation flights after the White House ignored his directive to turn the planes around and return the migrants to the United States. Judge Boasberg says the Trump administration has evaded its obligations to prove they did not defy his order by sending 2 planes of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador, adding the administration provided woefully insufficient information.
I would caution people to be very careful about accepting at face value the Trump administration's characterization of all these people.
The Trump administration claims the men are all violent gang members, though they acknowledge many of them don't have criminal records. Ivana Sanchez believes her husband is one of the hundreds of Venezuelan men who were on the plane deported under the Alien Enemies Act, saying she thinks he was taken to El Salvador's prison because he has tattoos and insists he is not affiliated with any gangs. An attorney claims also on the flight was Herce Reyes Barrios, a professional soccer player in Venezuela who was tortured after protesting the Maduro regime and had applied for asylum in the U.S. after entering the country legally. His family believes he was singled out because agents thought his tattoo was a gang tattoo. His lawyers say it's actually a tribute to his favorite soccer team, Real Madrid. The White House added his tattoos were consistent with the gang membership, and his social media indicates he's a member of Tren de Aragua. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Today, President Trump signed an executive order to begin the process of dismantling the U.S. Department of Education. To completely close down the department would require an act of Congress, which created the agency in 1979. The White House says the order aims to greatly minimize the agency and return education to the states. Trump says certain critical functions would not be impacted by the executive order.
Pell Grants, Title I funding, resources for children with disabilities and special needs will be preserved, fully preserved. They're all going to be so. If you look at the Pell Grants, it's supposed to be a very good program. Title I funding and resources for children with special disabilities and special needs, they're going to be preserved in full and redistributed to various other agencies and departments that will take very good care of them.
So far, 1,300 employees at the department have been let go. Cities across America are still having a hard time recruiting law enforcement, despite offering incentives.
Download the WEAR News app now, sponsored by Forrest Jordan and Associates.
First Warning Weather, sponsored by Pensacola State College.
Cities and countries across the United States continue to struggle with police hiring. That's adding to concerns about response times and public safety. It's part of a 5-year trend. Spotlight on America correspondent Chris Daniels investigates why so many cities continue to struggle with recruiting and if it's the new normal.
And I just saw this gun swing up.
Eddie Reynoso was outside a San Diego bar.
It was that rapid succession, those pop, 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 pop. I felt something hit my eyeball, and it felt like something exploded.
The lack of answers in the 2024 pellet gun attack make it even worse. He says, in part, because the police department is short on resources and has struggled to keep officers.
Is nothing being done because they're understaffed?
The police shortages here in San Diego are similar to other major American cities. The number of officers has been declining in many places for years, with some departments citing the George Floyd protests, mental health concerns, and challenging recruitment efforts as factors. In LA, the former interim police chief Dominic Choi says it has been a consistent issue.
NYPD is over 4 cops, 4.5, 4.7 cops per 1,000 people. Chicago PD is very similar, 4.2 or 4.5 cops for every 1,000 people. We are at roughly 2.1 cops for every 1,000 people.
And in Seattle,
this is a city with a staffing shortage in the police department. It is still, by one metric, 350 officers short.
There's really no panacea for it.
Sean Barnes is the city's new chief.
Seattle has a very strong economy and people have other options that they have to do, but it's about streamlining the process, making sure when people apply, they want a job, they want to work.
A recent survey by the International Association of Chiefs of Police, or IACP, found that responding departments on average are operating at a nearly 10% deficit, with 65% reporting reducing services or specialized units nationwide, like detectives, to maintain patrol needs. Ken Walker is the IACP president and a longtime Houston area chief.
Typically, they cut back on traffic enforcement, which we just looked at the stats, and more people are killed in traffic accidents nationwide than murders.
Walker has heard of the different departmental approaches, from relaxing restrictions on tattoos or creating separate departments to handle mental health and addiction calls. But he argues each city is different, and he's skeptical of huge signing bonuses for lateral police hires, like $50,000 in Seattle, $100,000 in Fremont, California.
Do these bonuses work from where you sit?
I think they work in that they get applicants in the door and they allow you to hire additional officers, but I'm skeptical about the long-term effects of that. It's nice that they're offering the big bucks, but we really aren't looking for people that are wanting to make the most money. We're looking for people with good hearts.
Back in San Diego, Reynoso still struggles with the physical and emotional impacts of the attack and wonders if in certain cases people have given up on calling for help. I'm Chris Daniels in San Diego for Spotlight on America.
First Warning WeatherNet is sponsored by Peden Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical. Here is meteorologist Marion Caldwell.
Well, a little bit of life left here on our Thursday. There's a live look down in Pensacola Beach where things are winding down. That's from our Hardee's Beach Cam. Temperatures were a little bit cooler today. We only saw highs in those upper 60s to lower 60s across the area. We have been in the 70s over the last couple of days, but even since then, we have done a lot of cooling off. It is pretty chilly out there. We're in the middle 40s in our places further inland along the coast. We're in those 50s, and that is thanks to this cold front that swept through the area last night, allowing that much cooler air to filter in, especially as we start to wake up tomorrow morning. We're seeing 30s in some spots, if not the 30s, lower 40s. So don't let that catch you off guard as you head out to work and school first thing tomorrow. Definitely want that jacket first thing. And with that, those cooler temperatures, we will have a frost advisory that will go into effect at 3 a.m. and expire at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. But as we go into the afternoon, we will see those temperatures jump into the lower 60s. So still overall cooler than maybe we would like for, a spring officially being here. But nonetheless, it will be a little bit more pleasant because it won't be quite as windy. Tomorrow we'll see that sunshine all the way from start to finish. So that being said, great day to walk the dog, but maybe first thing in the morning, if you do that, you definitely want to bundle up. So we fast forward looking at our future cast into the day tomorrow. Things continue to stay nice and clear, and that lasts all the way into the start of our weekend, and that's really just what we can expect. So speaking of the weekend, the good news is that those temperatures will be rebounding back into the 70s, so much nicer and warmer than we have been today and going into tomorrow. So great for anything you may have planned outdoors, and things are starting to calm down on the beach as well. So great weekend to head out there. Green flags will be back on the beaches tomorrow. Offshore, seas running from about 1 to 2 feet, so nice and calm out there as well. See winds coming out of the south from about 5 to 10 knots. So again, just more great weather in store. We've had a really nice stretch of that sunny and dry weather, and that continues all the way through the second half of our weekend. We're looking at lower 60s for the day tomorrow, so a little bit cooler behind that front, but rebounding really fast as we transition into the weekend, back into the 70s. But enjoy that dry weather until our next best chance for rain arrives on Monday.
There's a new resource for Pensacola residents dealing with food insecurity. The new group who's offering food to those who need it. And someone being in the right place at the right time saved a Bruton woman $10,000. Sergeant Austin Johnson with the Bruton Police Department stopped at a gas station to grab a drink last night. That's when he noticed a woman standing by the Bitcoin ATM. Johnson says the woman had a large amount of cash with her and was on the phone trying to deposit the money. He says that raised red flags for him. The sergeant escorted the woman to her bank where they confirmed she was about to be the victim of a crypto scam.
It's hard to track the Bitcoin and gift cards. That's one of the main reasons why they say, hey, send me this amount on this gift card or send me this in Bitcoin. They pretty much have instant access to it and you're out of your money right then and there.
And says they've had multiple scams involving the Bitcoin ATM before. Bruton's police chief says finding the scammers is difficult, but they're investigating. A new food pantry opened up in Pensacola today. It's called Sunshine Health. They are partnering with FarmShare to help deal with food insecurity across the state. The food pantry will be open every third Thursday of the month from 9 a.m. till noon.
It helps a lot. It really does. We're a one
one-income household with 5, so it's hard with everything going up, and it's hard to get the food and the things that we need. Everybody needs help, and everybody deserves to have a little bit, and it doesn't make you look bad for trying to come in to get help.
The food pantry is located at 2620 Creighton Road in Suite 401. This is Sunshine Health's 10th food pantry in the state. And Sinclair and the Salvation Army are now joining forces for Sinclair Cares, from homeless to hope. If you'd like to volunteer or make a donation to help families in need, please go to sinclaircares.com or scan the QR code on your screen. Your generosity can help give hope to millions of Americans experiencing homelessness. Florida's K9 March Madness bracket is back. We'll show you who will be representing our local agencies in this year's tournament next. One Florida middle schooler is bringing home the bacon and using some award money to help his family. Cash Owens raised a hog through the Future Farmers of America competition. Owens' hog, Babe, weighed in at a whopping 245 pounds. He won first in his class and third in his division. Owens decided to sell his hog for a price of $25 a pound, which got him more than $6 grand. He's now using that money to help his family rebuild their home after a fire destroyed it. The Florida Sheriff Association is hosting their annual K9 March Madness tournament. Agencies across the Sunshine State submit photos of a canine, and those photos will go head-to-head each week and try to get the most votes to stay in the tournament. Escambia County selected K9 Streeter, Santa Rosa County went with K9 Bosco, and Okaloosa County picked K9 Bo, and K9 Jocko is representing Walton County. The first round begins on Monday, and we'll have a link posted for you to go and vote once the tournament kicks off.
Chime in, sponsored by Florida Power and Light.
And we're celebrating March birthdays. Happy birthday to you all. To share your pictures and videos, text WEAR-TV to 95577 or look for the Chime In tab on our website. And we'll be right back.
Temperatures will really be dropping as we head into the overnight hours, waking up to some 30s in some spots, if not the 30s, lower 40s. So definitely bundle up as you head out the door first thing. And as we go into tomorrow afternoon, still on the cooler side, but we will warm up into those lower 60s. And then by the weekend, we're right back into the 70s.
All right, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you tomorrow. Jimmy Kimmel Live is next.